What is good, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well, fine and fantastic. Make sure that you hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and let's make it do what it's got to do. Let's make sure the channel is going and growing so we can get this information out there. I reluctantly am making this particular video, but I came across this video that's on the screen here by Dr. Rashad Ray. Dr. Ritchie. Dr. Ray, excuse me, Dr. Ritchie, Dr. Rashad Ritchie, from TYT, the Young Turks, on his show Indisputable, in which he's talking about, as you can see from the screen here, Black women nationwide call out white women who voted for Trump, and Black women online are fed up with white women after the election. So those are the titles that you can see here. And what I wanted to do for a quick moment here is highlight this particular graphic, this particular picture that I got right here. And we can see the numbers by race. I get this from the Washington Post. And so we can see of the white voters, white male voters, 60% voted for Trump. White women, 53% voted for Trump. Black men, 21%. Black women overwhelmingly voted for Harris, 91%. Latino men, 55%, voted for Trump. Latino women, a pretty sizable margin at 38%, also voted for Trump. That means 60%. And the other 2% probably went to Jill Stein or whatever, or whoever else. So you can see all that, right? I'll shrink this down here. So that's from the Washington Post. You can go over there and check that out. So as you, I want to highlight this because, as you can see at the bottom of the screen here, this particular picture right here. I made a video before the election was called, and you can see by the background pictures here, the trees are still green. It's one of my driving videos. And I call it, some people don't get it, and the FTC stands for fixing the community. Some people still don't get it. And this is a callback that I did to Dr. Barbara Sizemore. And when she did a talk that's still on YouTube called Black People Still Don't Get It. You can go look it up. I put that in the video. And you can see I highlighted this it's scheduled to be released on November 11th. So depending on when you watch this, it's either out on my channel or it's not. But I talked about exactly what Dr. Ritchie is going to highlight in this particular video. And that is that other people are not concerned. Other people are not concerned about our community the way that we need to be concerned about our community. And in the highlighted video that we're about to watch here by Dr. Ritchie, he's going to highlight that all these Black women who were, vagina power, right? The pink hats, the phone calls, this, that, we're going to fight your battles. We're going to rah you up. And then when push comes to shove, 53% of them vote for the other guy, the pea grabber. Nobody. I did another video called Nobody's Coming to Save. I got 2 videos dropping. I did one live, Nobody's Coming to Save You, and another one coming up. Nobody's coming to save you. This is why I don't like all this gender war thing. Man against women, particularly Black men against Black women. The divestment movement where Black women are saying, I don't want to deal with any Black men ever again. I'm going to go date out my community. We have to come to a certain place where we understand that we are all we have. We have to come to a place, as I'm going to highlight in this video, the video that's coming up, some people still don't get it, highlighting Dr. Barbara Sizemore. The other videos that I've done about fixing the community. Other people, I did another video, I think it's coming up, called People Aren't Rocking With You Like That. They aren't rocking with us like that. That's why I don't like all this divestment movement talk. I'm not talking about you just meet somebody at a grocery store and they just happen to like them and they're of a different ethnicity. That's not an issue. It's not an issue. And you think other people are fighting your battles? It's too bad. It's too bad. So let's listen to what Dr. Ritchie says as we deal with this. And I hope that some people can really get it through their heads that we're all we have. Culture matters. We understand each other, and we got to learn to give each other a chance, opportunity, have patience, and get along. We have to learn to get along. Let's listen to Dr. Ritchie.
Black women are fed up with white women after the election. There's a lot here. So TikToker Samantha Ryan best explained the situation. Here it is.
Well, I had a coworker ask me, and this coworker is a white woman, and she was so upset. And she asked me, why are black women opting out? Once black women get themselves together as a collective, then they call in other communities. Everybody is in agreement. The day of war comes, black women stand on the front line. Black women hold up their swords and say charge, and they start running towards the war, towards the battle. Black women look back, and now everybody who said they were going to go to battle with them, now they gone. When black women come out of the battle that they just fought, for everybody's interest, they come out with battle scars, trauma, and some more stuff. And they barely get a thank you. Y'all don't need us to help you in your fight. Y'all have the numbers to do it. Now, we going on vacation.
Yeah.
Let me give you more context. Black women on social media are reeling after finding out that they have been bamboozled by all of the white self-proclaimed anti-racist, quote, cat ladies, as JD would say, who claim to be giving Vice President Kamala Harris their ballot. Voting demographics now show that 53% of white women in the country voted for the convicted felon, sexual violator, and alleged insurrection instigator, known as Donald J. Trump, to be the next president of the United States. The polls show that 91% of black women voted for Harris, according to NBC. The stark difference in voter turnout between the two groups was nothing short of disappointing because of allied interest advocacy that they share, though black women showed how they really felt underneath a recent ex-post from MSNBC legal analyst Jill Wine-Banks, who silently posted the link to the Women's March website. No caption was needed to know the message was being sent to suggest women should band together in demonstration to protest Trump's sexist policies. However, black women quickly hit her with, got somebody else, get somebody else to do it, response. Quote, need to change this to non-black women's march, because absolutely not, wrote one ex-user. Quote, I don't think POC and white women realize, people of color, realize how much the results of this election has likely radicalized many black people against them to the point where we may not lift a finger in a generation to support them. They're in their causes, wrote another user. More responses online. Brooke Ashley posted, quote, black women aren't rolling up their sleeves anymore. Get someone else to do it. Lakeisha Harrison posted, quote, black women after this election. When black women say they are done, believe them. We got to take care of us since no one else even thinks of us. Try to find the light, y'all. The battle is just starting. Another post wrote, at least the myth of people of color is finally dead. Finally dead. Black people and black women specifically, we ain't got no one but us. And honestly, that's freeing. I will be selfish. put me and mine first and let the universe take care of the rest. Honey, is my voting era. Melanie L. Campbell, who chairs the minority advocacy group, Power of the Ballot Action Fund, and also served on a committee of women who advised Biden in selecting Harris as his running mate, said, quote, white women who were very much apart, we thought this time, would actually join forces with all women and vote for the first woman president, the first Black and South Asian woman president. But the results bear out, at least the early numbers show 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump, who is a sexist, who is a white nationalist. And so there's a lot of feeling of betrayal in this moment. Meanwhile, there's some Trump voters showing buyer's remorse. Here it is.
I know y'all seen that video of the Latino man, Angel Rodriguez, who voted for Donald Trump, and then he sent his kids to play with the neighbor's kids across the street. And then those people who also voted for Donald Trump, mind you, told him to leave and that his kind isn't welcome here. What did you expect?
There's more of that.
The last one was about economics and all that kind of stuff. But what I wanted to highlight is these particular ladies who felt disappointed. Now, I don't know, honestly, what the projections were that they thought, they being black women, thought, or the black elite, I should say, the Democratic Party, thought the white women were going to vote for them. Again, I don't know how many they were projected to get. I took a brief look for it, couldn't find it. You can see here by the poll, by the survey data here, that when you talk about people of color, that POC, that would be the 46% voting for Trump, 48% voting for Harris. I guess they thought they would get more. I guess they thought that white women would show up more. You know, this is broken down. You can go to the Washington Post article. I'm not going to do it again here. It's broken down by education and white men with education, black men with education, black women, et cetera, with education. And I think that more educated people voted for Harris. But you can see here that, you know, no one came close to the black women's dedication to the Democratic Party. Shame on them. And they didn't get the second was the Latino vote, and of course, as far as women, and then black men, 77%. But we've been faithful to them, and they haven't given us anything, in all honesty. But you know, you cast your lot in with someone who was an unfit candidate, in my estimation. Okay, we're going to finish this off with a story from an opinion piece from the USA Today addressing this so-called anger at white women for not following through with what people thought they were going to get. So this is from Ingrid Jacques, I don't know how to say her name. Kamala Harris' campaign and her acolytes angered a lot of women, and rightly so, when they began actively talking down to conservative women. The name of this article is Harris Lost Because She Was a Bad Candidate. Don't blame white women for that. Much like in 2016, I didn't vote for the woman at the top of the ticket Tuesday. It's not because I have fear for female presidents. I'm all for the idea, but don't expect me and other women to line up for a candidate simply because of her sex or other immutable characteristics. Is it immutable these days? Let's see. I want someone who will stand for my principles and beliefs. This is important, right? Conservative women believe in conservative values, and they don't align with the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party is going to have to rethink some of their more liberal, progressive ideas. Take it for what it is worth if you want these people's votes. Let's see here. Vice President Kamala Harris, who avoided going through the Democratic primary by booting President Joe Biden last minute from the ticket, proved a completely uninspiring and unsubstantial candidate. She didn't boot him. It's it's not what happened, but this is her opinion. And a lot of voters saw through the charade, including many white women. In what may be expected a nail-biter of an election, former President Donald Trump easily trounced Harris. It's because he was a better candidate and because he spoke directly to voters' top concerns, period. Yet that reality hasn't prevented the tired hand-wringing that Harris' loss must be tied to something nefarious, such as America's inherent racism or sexism, or even worse, some on the left will try to say that many white women didn't have anything wherewithal to stand up to the men within their lives. Apparently, Democrats learned nothing following Hillary Clinton's loss in 2016. It was expected all women would flock to Clinton simply because of her sex. They didn't, and white women helped deliver a win for Trump, much like they did this time. Clinton never forgave the women who didn't vote for her and wrote a self-pitying book, What Happened, following the election that documented her disgust. While Harris' sex played a lot less of an obvious role in her campaign, the undercurrent was still there. The Harris campaign and her acolytes angered a lot of women, and rightly so, when they began actively talking down to conservative women in the final days of the campaign. You mean like they talked down to black men by Barack Obama? Did they do the same thing to white women? For instance, an ad narrated by actress Julia Roberts portrayed two white women who had secretly voted for Harris so that they wouldn't upset, who had to secretly vote for Harris so they wouldn't upset their husbands. I hadn't seen this article, but if you haven't seen this is what happened.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose. You can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
Wow. In one place in America, we sure did, honey, talking about insulting, but that's how Democrats in the media have consistently portrayed conservative women, as if they're living in some sort of Handmaid's Tale nightmare where they have to lie to their husbands to vote how they wish. Ahead of the election, billionaire investor and Harris supporter Mark Cuban said this: "I really think women are going to win this election for the vice president. I think they'll come out in numbers. I think they're not listening to their husbands. I think they're going to do the right thing and vote for the vice president." Listen, this is a bigger issue because they're not saying this to black women. Not saying this because our marriage rates aren't there. Don't shoot the messenger. Perhaps Trump haters and liberals will learn their lesson this time that a concession isn't an easy way to winning strategy. The gender gap wasn't as big as predicted. Don't blame sexism. I wouldn't count on it though. During MSNBC's election coverage Tuesday, host Joy Reid instinct was to bash white women for not winning North Carolina for Harris. Black voters came through for Harris, Reid said. White women voters did not. That isn't crazy. Whose fault is that? And there was a post that I commented on Instagram in which, it was another black commentator saying, that, don't blame black men for this loss. And then, he went through the numbers, and either he went through the numbers or I went through the numbers concerning how many, the numbers I just had on the screen there, about, something like 60%, roughly 59-60% of white men and 55% of Hispanic men voted for Trump. And my question was, what do they see that we didn't see? Or what do we see that they didn't see? So 55 and 60%, 60% white, 55% Latino, saw something that African-American men didn't see. And I'm more curious to those men who stayed home, who chose not to vote, in particular black men, chose not to vote because they didn't see anyone. Either one of these candidates. I thought they were both a mess, in all honesty. Much like men, women vote on a variety of issues such as the economy, crime, and immigration. Harris offered voters nothing to give them confidence she would handle these top concerns. I know many women who would never support Harris given her stance against protecting women and girls, sports, and privacy. Yeah, this is an issue, man. This is an issue. Harris seemed to think if she repeated abortion rights enough, along with gender, that would be sufficient to bring women to her camp. While Women overall did turn out more for Harris than Trump. White women did not. 53% voted for Trump and 45% supported Harris. That is even more support than Trump got 8 years ago. If I were going to give advice to the next Democratic presidential candidate, it would be to knock out the blatant disrespect for the clearly powerful group of voters who are perfectly capable of thinking for themselves. That goes for black men and white women. All right. I just want, listen, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. You can't talk down to your people. You can't condescend. You got to think about the issues and all that. And I know that these duopoly, this two-party system, they think they have us in the bind, but I don't think staying home is the answer either, man. I don't think that's the answer. So, but I'm just saying, my point in saying this, and the point that of the video that I pointed out that it's going to be released on November 11th, is that, we got to start thinking about ourselves collectively. Some of these white conservative women who are married, whatever you think about what they got going on with the home with their husbands, they actually value family values, and we got to value that. We got to value that. And let me know your thoughts and your opinions. And I'm going to leave this off with Ebony K. Williams telling us the first to go around for Trump's time that black men and black women don't have the same political interests. And we got to take a look at why that is and how we're going to solve that so we can collectively improve our community, improve our lives, and all that. So I'll leave it off with that. Much love and peace.
Now, per the New York Times, black men today are currently leaning 20% toward President Trump. That's 20% of the black electorate. That is 20% of the famed Obama coalition, the very one that President Joe Biden and the Democratic Party cannot afford to lose. Now, I'm not about to chastise black men. I'm not about to tell them to go along to get along. And I'm certainly not about to tell black men in America to fall in line and vote like black women. Because, yes, and now I have to say the quiet part out loud, black men and black women, we don't always have the same political interests. Now, listen, I wish that we did. I really do. But the reality is that we live in an American society that has always ranked financial, political, and social capital as the following: white men, black men, white women. Now, those two can be debatable or interchanged. We'll get to that in a second. But always and consistently, forever last, is black women. So now black men are seeing black women outperform them in spaces that make no sense to them. Academically, they see us graduating from higher ed. They see black women owning businesses, opening them, starting them, achieving in them at a higher rate than black men. They see black women buying homes and purchasing commercial real estate at higher rates than them. And no, black men are not happy about it. It's not that they're not happy for us. They also understandably wish it were them. And they're wondering, legitimately, I would say, why they are getting left behind. And so they're saying very loudly with this polling, they're saying to the Democratic Party, at least 20% of them are, that they're not going to support a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris candidacy that only continues to, and this is the perception, concern itself with the needs and the advancement of black women and black women alone.